going on.
So we're doing 120 through 124.59.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
All right.
we are. Let's just check my sheet here. Yes, we
And
are.
I don't have to hit record anywhere. We're just pulling
Nope,
this right off of
you are
Zoom.
fine. I got it all on my end. I'm good.
This is
I'm a
all
very
right.
easy host like that. I'm very easy.
Yeah, there's this guilt of like I should be recording.
No,
Like
you know how many times people have said that to me in the last couple of weeks? How many times I
it's
hear that from people that are regulars, like my normal, like non-MMX hosts don't ever ask, but you guys always ask. Because I had Tabitha on this afternoon. She did the exact same thing.
yeah, it's like it feels like I'm at school in my underwear if I'm not recording, you know.
All right, let's do this then. Let me just take him off of my intro because I have him on my intro. Let me take him off my intro. And cut that out. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's do this. In 3, a 2. Hello and welcome back to D5 The Mighty Ducks, the podcast where we discuss the 1996 Disney hockey sequel, D3 The Mighty Ducks, 5 minutes at a time. I'm your host, Blake, and we're bringing on my guest this week for the first time on this show from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Minute and Tales from the Short Box, Adam Sheehan. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hello. Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to talk about D2 because that movie's my jam.
Yeah, I will say it is my favorite of the trilogy, so I can't argue that point. My favorite.
It's like my favorite movie I think ever. It's at least my favorite sequel ever made.
I can agree with that. Well, that goes with my first question because this is your first time on this show. Are you a fan of the Ducks trilogy, of these movies? Any of them involved? What's your history with these franchises?
The first 2 movies were huge. I played Pee Wee hockey up until I was like, I don't know, maybe like 11 or 12.
Okay.
So like it that always struck a chord with me around that age group. But I never saw the third one until yesterday.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You know what's funny? Everybody keeps saying that. Don't feel bad. Every time people said that this season, like, oh, the first time I was seeing it is because you invited me on this show.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I remember like purposefully not going to see it because I had heard from someone who had seen it that they lose the game in the end. And I'm like, what? Why would I want to see the Ducks lose? That sounds stupid. And I remember getting angry about it. And I held on to this anger for so long. And I sat down, like, as of yesterday, I was watching this movie. I was like, I guess I have to sit and watch the Ducks lose. And then they didn't. And I was like, dude, I could have had this movie so many years ago.
Yeah, I started in the movie theaters with my dad. I was one of those people. So I started in theaters. Yeah, movie theaters. I think of the past.
Yeah, remember those?
But it doesn't go up until the summertime, and I still don't think movie theaters will be a thing
yet. It's devastating. I used to work in movie theaters. I used to be a projectionist. So like seeing all these theaters shut down is heartbreaking. Just absolutely heartbreaking.
Well, I feel you there. I'm hoping by the time people hear this, something's going on. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But what's actually getting to this? So this is the first time you're seeing this movie. What do you think of the movie? Now that you've seen it, and the ending was not spoiled for you, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's something about a reverse spoiler. Like, I used to do this thing when I would go to wrestling shows. If I was going to one that was live, I would text fake spoilers to my friends. Because like you go in like, oh man, this guy's gonna lose, and then he wins, and you're like, wait a minute, what? And it makes it that much better.
Actually, my favorite thing I've ever read in a fake spoiler. I think it was a match on SmackDown. It was like Mark Henry versus Rey Mysterio, and Rey was champion. And somebody put out a spoiler saying that Mark, because they had the live band for his entrance for SmackDown. They had the live band and everything for Mark Henry's entrance. And somebody said Mark Henry won the belt and he was celebrating with the band on stage. And then I watched SmackDown, like, none of that happened. Like, none of that happened.
I love that stuff because like I hope this gets out like into the world. But
Yeah, that's one of the funnier non-spoilers I've ever read. Like full spoilers I've ever read in my life.
Yeah, like going through my whole life thinking the Ducks lost in D3 is it's a disappointing life I've lived over this last 20 some years.
That's so weird to me. Like I just can't get over that. But anyway, what do you think of the movie now that you know now that the ending wasn't spoiled?
Well, there's things I really liked about it. Like I went to a school that was kind of like this. My high school was sort of like this. We even had a hockey team.
Wow, you're fitting in everything in this franchise. Jeez, you just fit everywhere.
Like this could have been like a wheelhouse movie for me, and it just wasn't. But the only thing my big takeaway was I really, really hate Charlie in this movie. Like,
okay, you're not the only one. You're not the
I
only one.
hate him so much. Like from the first time we see him in this movie, he's like, why don't you just not take that dream opportunity and keep like coaching us? He's like, what do you think this is? Like, you need to grow up, Charlie. Like, come on.
The real world. The real
Yeah.
world. Yeah,
So like aside from that, it's good to see like Kenan Thompson at that age in a movie is just a spectacular thing to watch. Goldberg is always the best. Like it's not a bad movie. I always thought this was a bad movie, but you know.
Yeah,
Although the chase sequence in the beginning, sorry, I keep like faking
fine.
you out here.
You're fine.
The chase sequence in the beginning threw me though. I was like, what am I? There were moments where I was like, what am I watching? Like, what is going on my screen right now?
Yeah, that was a fun conversation to have back that happened back when that happened in the beginning of the movie. That was a weird conversation to have.
It just sucks seeing it in my 30s because I feel like if I'd seen this when I was in third grade, I would have loved it. Like third grade me would have this would have been a great movie, but alas.
Yeah, 96 for me was 96 for me was actually freshman year of high school. So,
oh wait, 96? Why did I have in my head 93? No, I would have been in sixth grade.
Yeah, it was. This is ninth grade for me. So this is actually perfect for me. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. We're the same age. I'm the same age as the characters.
It also came out like the year I stopped playing hockey. Is the other side of that too. So
yeah, it happens. It does happen. Well, let's get into our minutes because the last time I left, where we actually had them going to work. Finally going to work.
One of those W words.
Yeah, back to the W's. Back to the word beginning of the W. This one's work, and we're actually going to do it. And I must say, and I said this all movie, I love Coach Orion.
He's great.
I love Coach Orion. Like
he's a good coach. You know, like he's a good coach.
Yeah, like I remember as a kid hating his character so much, but now as I'm watching this as an adult, he's like the best character in this movie. Close. Oh my gosh.
I like how like Bombay has to show Charlie that this guy isn't a jackass. It's like he was never a jackass. Like he was never that bad that he had to be shown like, you know, his daughter has a disability and you shouldn't hate him so much. It's like he wasn't really being that big of a dick. I mean, as an adult, as you know,
as a 14-year-old, where it's like, oh, he's being such an ass. But now it's like he's being a great coach and an adult. He's being an adult in a movie.
in a franchise that often lacks adults or good adult role models. Like Bombay in the first one wasn't that great of a role model until
either the second movie either.
Or and then the second movie he just like sold out on them. So yeah, like here's a guy who's not just going to give up on these kids.
And the good part is like the good thing about the only thing about the Charlie storyline, at least it was on Charlie being his age. Like that's the important part about the Charlie storyline. Like at least he was being his age, and we were able to follow him grow up. That's the good thing about the story, you know. But well, here we are. We have our movie. Every single movie has to have one. We have our training montage. We have some kind of a weird training montage, and it starts normal with normal like drills and all the normal stuff, which is fine. And I like the fact that he brings out the terminology blue collar hockey, which is something you don't hear very often anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I really do appreciate that terminology. But I do like the fact we didn't do old school drills for like the first like 30 seconds of this. Like
the ice is so snowy in this movie. It makes me wonder if this was synthetic ice. I mean, it had to be synthetic ice, right? Like
I know the Blake game, the game against Blake, the team, that was actually on a real ice surface. That was actually done at the school that they were playing. So that was interesting, but I'm not sure about this part, you know?
Yeah.
But again, back to actual coaching, but you have to have some kind of shenanigans. You have to have something. You can't just have a normal like training sequence. We throw trash on the ice, which might, looking back, now I am a housekeeper at a hospital.
Yeah, that's gotta make me
crazy now. Looking at it as an adult, it's nuts.
Also, like he disciplined them because they were doing that drill with the lasso, and he's like, "No, that's bull crap. We're not going to horse around in this hockey rink," and then just dumps the trash all over the rink.
Yeah, it is funny how suddenly he's the good guy here, so now he gets to goof around. Like,
Yeah. There's just no rules in this movie, it
no,
seems.
oh, there's not. But we have, but I do appreciate. I just paused it on the Averman holding up a bagel. Have to make a joke. We had to get a joke in here somewhere. The punchlines are either on the Averman or Russ. This entire movie, like both of them have gotten all the lines. So,
I do love Aberman. Like, this actor's great, but he doesn't really do much after this, does he?
no, he really doesn't. Matt Darden, who actually was on the show first season. He was
Oh,
actually
get
on
out.
this show. I interviewed him after the first season.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's a good interview. I actually talked to him for a good half hour after the first season. And he's a really nice guy. I tried to get him on this season. He just wasn't in the mood with the pandemic to come on this show this season. But I emailed him and we talked for a little bit, but he just wasn't in the mood, which I completely understand. Mental health is more important than doing a podcast, to be completely honest. Yeah. But no, he didn't do a whole lot after this movie. I'm gonna double check. But yeah, Matt Doherty he's such a good guy though. Like
yeah. I feel like he was in a found footage horror movie like a few years back, or I'm mixing him up with someone else.
Oh, funny part is I put Matt Doherty into Google and I got a football player and a basketball player. I had to go to Wikipedia. That is not the person we're looking for. That ain't the person we're looking for. But I do like this whole. I'm looking this up. I do like this whole drill. Like I really do appreciate this drill because they're actually learning hockey skills here. Like they're actually learning defense.
Yeah, but I feel like this drill would have been just as easy to do with a whole bunch of pucks. I don't think he needed to dump the garbage all over the place.
Valid point.
It's gonna mess up the Zamboni and everything.
And let them do their job, and they clean it up afterwards. Clean it up properly later. I'm looking it up here, by the way. This is the last leading role he had. Right here, massive role he had. He was in the movie Ghost World. After that,
I remember Ghost World.
He was the Masterpiece video employee.
Of course.
I know what that means.
That's actually great. That's a great
He had an uncredited role in Argo. And he was also, the last movie he was in was Hollows Grove in 2014.
I think that was the found footage film.
Yeah, that was the last movie he was in, and then the last thing he did on TV was Rosewood back in 2017. So, and other than that, he was just did almost everything he did on TV is like one episode on CSI Miami, one episode on Grey's Anatomy.
There's still like even 20 almost is it almost 30 years later now?
Mm-hmm.
There's got to still be even massive residuals on this movie.
Oh, right? I guarantee it. Absolutely. And now with the Disney Plus series and all, by the time people hear this, the Disney Plus series will be on.
Yeah.
The Ducks are still a thing. They're still a thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy an Aberman jersey after this.
Just because you want to. So everyone always gets the Conway jersey. You get the Aberman one.
Yeah, yeah. You only ever see Conway or Goldberg.
Yeah, I always see there is someone at the Milwaukee Admirals games I go to that owns the Conway jersey. Because I see him in almost every game I go to. Every single game. And he's probably the same guy.
Yeah.
Every game I go to. But yeah, I notice it every single time somebody's wearing especially doing this for the last 3 years. I notice it more. I'm noticing it more. But I do enjoy this, but I love how the coach is into it. He's so into this now. Go right into this. He's been waiting this whole movie to do this drill. Is that what's been going
on? He just wanted to trash the place.
Or maybe he's so pissed at the administration that now he's just making more work for the people.
Yeah. He's just gone rogue. He's like, yeah, good luck finding another great coach.
Yeah, exactly. So I kind of understand the shooting the garbage on the ice thing. Why are we now doing litter pickup while doing skating drills on major ground?
Because it's a movie that was made in the 1990s, geared towards a young demographic. Every single one of those has some sort of environmental message tucked into it somewhere.
Fair enough.
Every single movie I've watched deeply like this, I've seen it. All the Turtles movies have recycling bits.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, there's just if you start to look for it, you'll start to see it. There was just like this massive push of just this stuff in any kind of media. So
Especially
yeah,
that
it
was the
was.
era of Captain Planet.
Mhm.
So like, and people listening that are younger and have no idea what we're talking about with Captain Planet. I have no idea what that is, but
But yeah, there was a huge push for this stuff all throughout Hollywood, where they're like, they would just put a lot of it was just like subtle hints, like a character would have a recyclable bag or something, but sometimes it was something really ham-fisted like this.
yeah, it works though. It works for what it is. That was just really random that they're picking up trash. That's going skating drills.
Yeah.
On the ice, I understood it. Like, I don't know. That was weird to me. So we come back, and I love the fact that they're still doing this drill. It's like later on, it's another day, a completely different day, and they're still doing the same drill.
Yeah, like do they dump out the trash every day?
Oh, I think the trash they picked up, they didn't dump on the ice.
Oh, like they went to get more trash so they could do this drill.
That actually makes sense.
That's what it
That actually
is.
makes more sense.
I'll take my tinfoil hat about environmental propaganda off for a moment.
It works
was
both ways, though. It does work both ways because they're picking up litter and then
Yeah.
reusing it for practice.
There you go. They're just
There
going
you
to
go.
dump it right back in the streets after practice.
But it all ties together perfectly.
Yeah.
So, Coach Ryan, like I said, great coach because he wants to get their attention, so he raises his voice like a parent.
Yeah.
Because he knows he'll get their attention because he knows they hate that voice. If they're going to raise my voice to my son, he knows he'll stop what he's doing because he doesn't like hearing me yell. It's the same mentality.
It's psychology.
Well, ironically, my son's only like 2 years younger than the kids in this movie. So,
oh, there you go.
That's weird. That makes me feel really old, by the way, when I say that out loud. But so he goes and says the line, "Your guys are not skating like warriors." I said, I saw it in the movie theaters, and we had a pretty good crowd for a Ducks movie in the middle of a weekend. It was a pretty good crowd, and I remember the whole theater was like, "Huh? What's going on?" It's so obvious now what the hell they're doing. It's so obvious. It's the best.
Yeah, I like the trope of the adult acting all hard and tough when he's about to give someone a present. It's like, come on, man.
And I love Charlie's reaction to, "Oh, the Duck jerseys are back. He took that away from us, and now it's back."
Yeah. Yeah, like Charlie doesn't really sacrifice anything in this movie. Like by the end, he still gets to play it with the Ducks, which was just like, so what if you don't get to be the Ducks, right?
Right.
And then still gets to be captain of the team
and he gets the
after
girl.
all this.
And he gets the girl.
He gets everything he wants.
And he gets a better relationship with Coach Bombay on top of it all.
Yeah, I guess.
Sure, why not? Okay, I have a simple question here. Okay, I get everyone else being excited because he took their jerseys away and they're getting their jerseys back. Charlie and Fulton still have their jerseys from earlier. Why are they so excited? It's not like they're getting their jerseys back because they're home. Their jerseys are at home.
Well, they get to play with these jerseys. But what's interesting is like they get their jerseys back and then it cuts to them doing more drills in the Warriors uniforms.
Well, I think this is their practice uniforms. I think the Warrior uniforms are their practice uniforms, and the game jerseys are the Duck jerseys.
Gotcha.
It's sort of like if in the D2 they had game jerseys and then they had practice uniforms.
Right.
So like it makes sense. That's actually how most teams do it. I went to an Admirals preseason game. It was one of those things. They opened up one preseason game to the fans every year, so we can go see it. But it wasn't on normal ice. It was like a different ice surface. It was like $10 to get in. And they had completely different jerseys because technically it was their practice. So they had completely different jerseys than we would see on the ice for a normal game. So it was a unique setup. So that may be a situation here. So that brings back the quack chant, which we'll get to later on.
Always love me a good quack chant.
I can't argue with the quack chant, especially
if you're in any crowd for any game or any event and you can't get a section to quack, you're doing it wrong. You can always get a crowd to quack.
What did I watch? I think I was watching a Ducks game on television because nothing better to do sometimes at late night when you're insomnia and you're watching a Ducks game at 10:30 at night on the East Coast. And I remember hearing a quack chant in the middle of a game. I'm like, well, they still do that. Nice. They're still doing that. Cool.
Dude,
That's
it's
cool.
same thing with USA. Like you could get any crowd to chant USA.
For any reason,
like
for no reason. Sometimes, even if even at wrestling shows for no real apparent reason.
you only even need to say it once. Just intercrowd, just USA, and then just the whole crowd within minutes is chanting USA.
It really is one of the best chants ever because it takes over an arena. Even if you're at a wrestling show and it's 2 Canadian wrestlers in the ring, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
So that happens all the time. I hear that I listen to the audio the next day, like, why are they chanting to USA, USA? But it's like, I remember with like Lance Storm versus like Chris Benoit, the crowd is chanting USA, USA. It made no sense. It made 0 sense.
I mean, I'm sure there's some crowds where that wouldn't catch on too easy, but
I think in the States it would happen everywhere. It really would happen everywhere. Oh, so we get to the game. We're at the game. We're not at the game yet. We're at the pregame. We're at the pregame. But apparently the pregame means like 3 minutes at a time. The fact there's only like 21 minutes after this movie, they spent a whole lot of time doing the pregame stuff in this movie for this game. So I do like the fact, I do love our commentator. I've been commenting about in this entire movie how awesome he is in this movie.
I love this kid. I want to be this kid. I want to go back and be a kid again so I could be this kid.
Yeah, he makes me love being like in this kind of a field because I used to want to be that guy. I wanted to be the radio guy. I wanted to be that guy. And
I still do. I've been poking my friends to do esports. I was like, you have to let me do commentary. Like you have to let me, I just don't know how to break into that world. Like I don't know anything about that.
I went to school for it and I couldn't break into the world. Like I went to school for broadcasting and I couldn't break into it.
Yeah. No, I just meant esports. Like I don't know anything about games, but like I could talk over people playing games all day. So like if you're an esports team and you need like a guy, I'll be your little boy with a microphone, like in this movie.
So Dave versus Goliath. So he's just combining metaphors now. Dave versus Goliath in a Titanic grudge match. Combining metaphors.
It's funny because it reads like it was written by a 12-year-old. Like,
exactly. It's so true. You're right. It's absolutely right.
It's great. Like this is exactly what an 8-year-old radio announcer would do.
Okay, what the hell are you talking about though? When you say the winner can truly say that he is the symbol of Eaton Hall. Technically, they're in the same school. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I think the idea, it's not very clear from the movie, but I think the idea is that whoever wins the game, that gets to be the mascot of the school. Because if you go back to the beginning, there was the petition to change the school mascot.
Yes.
So it was
never brought up. Yeah, it's never brought up until the end.
But isn't this game kind of to decide if they're going to be the Ducks or the Warriors? Like that's what I got out of this.
The game
I thought there was a stipulation.
There is no stipulation.
Huh.
This whole game is basically the freshman senior game. That's pretty much all this is. Freshman varsity game. The only stipulation was they threw out a crack right before our minutes saying, "Oh, you guys are gonna pack up and leave if we beat you." That's not a stipulation. That's not a stipulation. That's a threat. There's a difference. You know?
Well, I guess I just read that wrong.
Yeah, like it's never brought up until the very end.
I mean, they set up that plot though. Like that could have been the stipulation. It could have added so much more weight to it. Like
I agree. There's a lot of things that could have been added to this movie. It made a lot more sense.
Like it's almost like it was already there, and then they kind of cut it out.
Yeah, and they forgot to bring it up again. They forgot it was there. Or they were writing backwards, and they're trying to figure out a way to get his girl. I keep forgetting her name. Getting her into the movie, and they're like, "Here's a way to get her into the movie, but at the beginning." Yeah. And then we forgot about it because we wrote the ending first. You know, that's probably something that happened. You know. So Charlie goes and says this game is for Hans, which I love. I love this. I do. This is a great moment, and I remember in the theater being so happy this moment happened.
I watching this for the first time last night. There was that last scene with Hans, and I said out loud, I was like, "Oh, watch, they're gonna kill Hans." And then like the next scene was his funeral. I was like, "You've got to be kidding! They killed Hans."
Well, the funny part is, we talked about this on the funeral episode. Hans wasn't even in the last movie. He wasn't even in the second movie.
Wasn't he though? Wasn't he in the beginning or something?
Jan was in the second movie. Hans was not in this movie. In the second movie,
Weird.
His brother Jan. Hans was in Russia visiting his mother.
Oh, right.
Hang on 1 second. What's up? Already?
Already.
Jeez.
Love you.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. My son wanted to show me. We got a new puppy. It's like last week, and we got her a new stuffed dinosaur yesterday, and it wasn't supposed to break easily. It's already had a hole in its back.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a dog toy that doesn't.
We literally got it yesterday afternoon. Yesterday from Amazon. Yesterday afternoon. Oh, there's 2 cuts. Okay, cool. Okay, go. I'm doing a show. Go. Get out of here. I love you. Go take your meds. Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. Sorry about that. It's like, we're doing a show. Get out of here. I think he forgets that I'm podcasting up here. I think he forgets sometimes. Because I do this every Thursday. I think he forgets. All right. Anyway, back to this. Yeah, the second movie, it was Jan's. And Hans was in Russia visiting his mother.
Hans and Jans.
Not making that up at all.
Also, but there was that one scene with Hans, and like they're sitting in his living room, and then like the background of his living room is the pro shop. Like, does this guy live in a pro shop?
I think, if I'm understanding right, I think his apartment is on the other side of the pro shop. I think that was what we were setting up in this movie. But that was never brought up in the movie.
It's just so weird. It almost looked like they had the pro shop set and then Hans's apartment set, and then they just forgot that the one set was in the background of the other.
Or maybe the point is that he didn't want to go home and die at home, and he'd rather die where he loved the most.
He would rather die at his skate sharpener
that he loved so much. So, I don't know.
Yeah, that I was like, what are they doing here? What's happening?
But I love the fact that he would sit and listen to the game on his old school radio.
Yeah, because of course this is on the radio. Like what? Because I listen to high school hockey games on the radio.
Well, it's pretty. It's one of those things where I know in my hometown we had a TV station, but it was only available in the area you lived in. So I can believe it because like we used to do it. I was on my senior year. I was in GTV, which was the Garfield television station. And the town next door also had a station. And it was 19 and 20 on the cable dial because it was 2 local public access stations. And like, I know like Garfield and Lodi were our trials. They play each other. And it was in Lodi. The game would be on TV later on that night.
Huh.
So
well, like that's TV. Radio is a different thing altogether. Like we had a local station too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're using the Bayside mentality of a radio station that for some reason is in the back of the high school.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
I mean, who knows? This school might have like a radio program. Like
maybe you're right.
They seem like one of those kind of college prep schools.
Exactly. So we continue on here, and I do like the explanation for those who don't understand what's going on with the Hans tribute, the Norwegian symbol of respect. I do like that a lot. Appreciate that. For kids watching, because like I remember watching this with my son the first time and he didn't understand what was going on and they explained it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. So
that line is there for the kids.
The ice is still so snowy in this shot though.
Yeah, it bothers you. I know it's bothering you.
Like to have a big important game about to start and have an inch of snow on the ice, like that's weird.
Gotcha. So we're talking about the random seriousness of this game, and the varsity coach yells out, "They don't belong on our ice. They don't belong in our school."
Yeah.
What? Is that what?
Like,
get over that.
Tell us how you really feel, man. I mean, it's just kids who want to play hockey. It's not
that serious. It's not that serious.
Like I don't want my kid going to this school anyway, if that's the kind of place it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually have Coach O'Ryan starting the duck chant, which this is great. It's absolutely great. It's a really awesome moment. And it's like, and we got to Charlie again smiling, and everyone into it. All the ducks are into it because they finally get to do their chant they got yelled at for doing in the first game. So cool for them.
And then we get an audience slow clap, slow quack, which is great.
It's great. It works. It absolutely works. It's the only time we're going to get this on movie. It's the only time. So you got to end the movie with it. It was the same thing in the second movie. It was the exact same thing that in the second movie.
Absolutely.
Like, you have to do it at least once. You know? It has to happen. But you know what the funny part is? Like, in the second movie with the same conversation we had in the second movie. Why is it everybody joins in, even though nobody knows but the parents? Nobody really knows about this champ and the parents.
Because like I said earlier, there isn't a crowd I've ever met that I can't get a quack chant going. People will quack when there's no reason at all to quack. I can get people to quack.
I feel like I should have tried that when I was walking and when I went to do Devils games. And for those who don't remember this, in the East Rutherford, New Jersey, you had to walk across what we always joked called the Tunnel of Love, because it was above ground tunnel. But because it was like a ridiculous parking fee to park in front of the arena, we park at Giant Stadium because it was free. It was free. So we parked over there, and then we'd walk across as a group over to the game. But then coming back was always more fun because it was after a game, and there's like it's 15,000 people in this tunnel.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you, if you start quacking in that crowd will quack.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe that would be a great time to try that, but I didn't think about it at the time. You know?
Yeah.
That's not a thing anymore. Obviously, that's not a thing anymore because the IDOT Center is closed.
I mean, crowds aren't really a thing anymore. So.
Well, yeah, true. It's true. Yes, that's very true. Well, as we're recording this, people wondering where we're recording this, the crowd is like, we were starting to get crowds back. We are starting to get some crowds back, which is nice, but it's just not the same yet. So we get going here. We're starting this game off, and what's interesting about this, it is a rough start to this game. It's a rough start. Oh my god! I do like out of Banksy, by the way, going to say, save the trash talk. Like, okay, sure, that makes sense because they're not going to talk to you much. They're going to beat the crap out of you for the next the rest of this game.
Or maybe he's seen one of their practices and he's like, yo, enough of that trash crap all over the ice.
True. Very, very, very true.
Enough of your trash hockey.
Oh my god. So we get started here, and okay, I have a problem with the commentary here. One shot on goal. We are 1 second into the game. We have a shot on Julie, and the play-by-play says, at this rate, it's going to take a miracle for the Ducks to hang on. It's been one shot on one play.
The game is 1 second long.
I can understand this later on in the game. I completely get that mentality then. But
well, these guys are screwed.
First shot of the game. Come on. So by the way, I said this earlier. Goldberg as a defenseman is amazing. Like, Goldberg as a defenseman is great.
You wouldn't think.
Great defenseman. So
Goldberg is the best.
Yes, I could argue that.
Sean White's like doing all right, or Sean, is it Sean Weiss?
Sean West, yeah, I know you're talking about.
He's doing all right now, isn't he? Like,
he's doing better than he was last season when we did this show. He's doing a lot better than last year.
He's in a real bad.
Last time I started updating picture, he looked better than he did a year ago. I was worried for his life last year when we did this show. And this year, it's like, okay, he's doing better.
That looked scary for a minute, man.
Yeah, so
you should get him on the show. That'll be a fun interview.
I've reached out and I never get back. A lot of people don't get back to me. I've reached out.
Well, Sean, if you're listening, get back. Come on.
Yes. The only people I've actually had on were Matt Dougherty, and I had David Newman, the score composer from the first movie. I had him on. So that was a cool guy who was involved in West Side Story this year.
Nice.
So that was cool. But the funny part about that interview, going back, I actually was actually going back to stuff. He actually is plugging West Side Story coming December 2020. Because that was 2018 when we revealed that episode.
I'm sure that worked out just fine.
Like, oops. So I love the fact that, by the way, we have the trash talk, but this actually conversation makes sense. Why did you come back? Unfinished business. Thank you, Charlie, for that line as we end our minutes. What does that even mean? And we will continue on with the game in the next 5 minutes with our next guest next week. So, all right, Adam, our question of the week always is and has been all season. This is my favorite part of the show. I'm not gonna lie. I've been looking forward to it. I love this question. Craziest or funniest high school stories? And actually, I'm actually curious because if you went to school like this, I'm really curious. Crazy or funniest high school story? Go for it.
Funniest high school story. So I guess it was my junior year of high school. They had added this whole arts building, and part of the arts building had when they were building the facility, they kept telling us they were soundproof practice rooms where any student could just go in, and they had like amps around you could just plug in and play guitars or whatever. So one day it was in between classes, and me and a couple friends just went in there and started playing Misfits songs, and loud, just unforgivably loud.
Oh God.
And we were on like the third floor of this building, and someone came busting in going, "People on the first floor can't hear." I was like, well, I was told these were soundproof practice rooms.
Obviously not.
Nope.
That is really funny.
You could you probably could have heard us from like 2 blocks away. It was nasty.
Oopsie. That's a problem.
And we weren't good at all. Like these were not good covers of Misfits songs. And they were not good songs either.
We also figured you're in a soundproof room, so what does it matter?
Yeah, right? Like we thought no one can hear us. No one's going to be able to hear this.
That actually reminds me of when I was in GTV, as I mentioned earlier. We were in GTV, and that was actually it was a class we took during study halls. Give you something to do during study hall. It wasn't a real class. It was just something you did during study hall. And we were doing my senior year. We got bored a lot my senior year, and we started doing like actual like presentations and like songs and dances and like game shows and all this random stuff my senior year. And we did the Gong Show.
Oh, nice.
The Gong Show. The problem with the Gong Show is when it's a good performance, we can't. You're not supposed to cut them off. You want when it's a good performance, and we had somebody because it's supposed to be a 25-minute show, and only go almost 40 minutes into another period. We're doing the filming the thing, and what I'm doing because one of our best people that ended up winning the show was doing what song was it? It was Ozzy Osbourne. What song was it now? I can't remember it. I hear it in my head and I can't think of it right now. But he was doing Ozzy Osbourne and he was playing, and it was on electric guitar. It was fantastic. Except he was doing the full song. And it went for 5.5 minutes.
That's
crazy train. Crazy train. There it is. 5.5 minutes.
Aside from that too, the high school I went to is really, really old school. Like it was established in the 1800s.
Oh, wonderful.
And as such, they had fraternities. Like it was.
Oh, wow. It's like a college.
Yeah, but like sort of. So we had these fraternities. I think I pledged one when I was a sophomore in high school. And it was just like a lot of rated PG fraternity antics, like pulling pranks and that kind of nonsense. There's a lot of that stuff. Like, it's a little unusual, but yeah.
Yeah, well, it's what it is. Well, they had a prank war in this movie, so it works out nicely.
Yeah,
you know?
like that's the kind of thing that was like that struck a chord with me. It's like, oh my god, it was just like where I went to school. Like we did crap like that all the time.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I'm going to plug next week. We have Sean Gurman and Dave Pallas coming on the show next week to continue on. We were trying to get them together last year, but it didn't happen. So this year they're back together. I'm excited for this episode. That'll be next week's show. So let's do plugs. Adam, I mentioned the top of the show, but tell them where they can find you.
You can find me in a couple of places. So I'm on 2 different podcasts on the Dueling Genre Network. I'm on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Minute, which is another Movies by Minute show that we've been doing forever. we just started recording episodes for season 3. We're gonna actually do Turtles 3. So all of Turtles 1 and 2 is already banked. You can go catch up on that stuff. I'm also on a weekly comics podcast called Tales from the Short Box, where we talk about the previous week's comics. It comes out every Wednesday. We try to we're like kind of a recommendation heavy show. We do a lot of reviews of books we really liked. So it's not really a whole lot of negative reviews. It's just all the good stuff.
Gotcha. It sounds a lot like the show that used to be on Smodcast Network called I Sell Comics. That's what it sounds
Oh, there
like.
you go.
So just throw that out there.
Yeah, well, two of our hosts are comic book retailers. So
Fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Well, as for me, obviously, D5 Mighty Ducks here every single Friday until we're done. The season's almost over. Being the show is almost over, which I cannot believe after 3 years. The show is almost over.
that is exciting.
Yes, it's very exciting. But you can also hear me every single Friday right after you hear this show. Go over and listen to the Blick and Sal show. I do it every single Friday. Sport and wrestling talk and some entertainment depending on what's going on that week. It's a weekly show. And we haven't missed a week. We have not missed a week in about 2 years now. So and we're really, really happy about that. So we do not miss weeks. Even when we take vacations, we don't miss weeks. So that all being said, thank you.
Oh, I forgot to plug the social plugs. So go to @Dueling Genre, go to @TMNT Minute, go to @Last Week's Comics. Sorry about that.
All right, and we'll at Blake and Sound Show. There you go. I always forget to put that out there. I actually forget the social media stuff every week. So thank you, Adam, for coming on the show. This was
thanks for having me.
Fun. This was a lot of fun. Really
Thanks for giving me a reason to see this movie finally.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I'll have to get in touch with you for my next project in the end of the year, my next big project. I'll let you know. It's another hockey themed thing. I'll let you know.
Oh, nice.
So until then, I will see you all next week. And thank you all for listening and have a good day, everybody. And we're out. Let me stop the recording.